Hey everyone, this is Noobs Before Boobs bringing you my reaction recap of the Microsoft conference that just happened at E3. And just as a note, that whatever gameplay or videos on the background, that's just going to be something to watch while I just go over their 90-minute conference that just finished half an hour ago. So first off, the first thing they showed was a new trailer for the new Metal Gear game. It's supposed to be open world with real-time weather, actual time, so however long you take in the game, that'll affect like the lighting and time of the day and all that kind of stuff. And being open world, there was a lot of emphasis on the vehicles, like you see him riding a horse, driving a jeep, tanks, and all that stuff. And the game that they showed was Metal Gear Phantom Pain, which is also known as Metal Gear 5, but we still don't know how the hell it actually deals with Ground Zeroes. Like, they're two separate games, but supposedly together they both make Metal Gear 5, and they didn't actually ever sort that out. But the game itself looks beautiful. It's, out of all the games they showed at the conference, this was the most well done. It was really crisp, and everything about it was detail oriented, running on the Fox engine, and it looked really good. Other than that, you kind of just meet some of the other characters that are in it. You barely hear anything out of Snake, which was kind of weird. I think he only had like one line or something, but just watching that trailer actually made me really excited. And just as a note, Metal Gear is not an exclusive to Xbox One. It's also going to be on the PlayStation 4. This is just kind of Microsoft getting back at Sony, or like trying to get at Sony, as Metal Gear is more known on the PlayStation, but now this is just an attempt to try and get the more casual gamer to see that, oh, Microsoft got Metal Gear for the Xbox, and just try and do whatever they can to get a couple more people over. So after that, they did just a quick bit about the Xbox 360, not too much. They have a new design that made it look like the Xbox One, but in my opinion, it actually looked worse. Supposedly it's more sleek and quieter, but I prefer the more curviness of the older Xbox, like the Elites and stuff, compared to the rectangular, just flat box shape of the new redesign and of the Xbox One. So supposedly it's now out available today, June 10th, but how good it actually is, or like, I don't see why you'd buy it now if you already have an Xbox. It's a bit late to jump the ship to it, but whatever. And then also, if you have gold membership, Microsoft's kind of adapting the Sony way of PlayStation Plus, that now they'll be giving gamers 2 free games per month for the next couple months. They didn't say if it was going to continue past the Xbox One launch, or if they didn't say it, they just said for the next couple months, and they revealed that Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3 were going to be the first couple games out on this new service. Overall, I think it's an okay thing. Well, actually, it's a great thing if you're more of an Xbox gamer, which I'll admit I'm not. I'm more of a PlayStation, but it is good to have that kind of service, as with PlayStation, you pay $50 a year, but then you get, honestly, hundreds of dollars worth of your money back. And now with if Xbox is doing this and keeping the price the same, then not only do they get that better online experience that they do admittedly have over Sony, but then they also get some games that add more value and make it more of a better deal. And then also with that, they showed 3 trailers for games coming to Xbox 360. World of Tanks, the game that's on PC, that I haven't really heard too much about, but apparently it's pretty big. And that's coming exclusively to Xbox 360, and it's going to be the free-to-play model, so anyone can try it out. Just hop on as long as you have, I'd assume, online gold membership, so that's pretty good. And then there was also a platformer called Max: The Curse of Brotherhood. It's kind of more of a cartoony game based on like one brother wishing away the other brother by like some sort of dark magic, and you have to like get him back and stuff like that, and it looks more like a platform kind of thing. It looked okay. Nothing special that we haven't seen before, but it still looks okay for being, I believe that's an exclusive as well. And then finally they showed Dark Souls 2, another trailer of it. Looked pretty good. I never got really into the Souls franchise, but if you're into that, it did look really good. But once again, that game's not exclusive to Xboxes. That's coming out on both the Xbox 360 and PS3 in March 2014. And then after that, quick recap of the Xbox 360 about the new design, gold membership having games, and the 3 games they showed off. They moved to Xbox One. First, Rise, Son of Rome, which Looked really cool. It's like you're a commander of a Roman army that's trying to defeat the barbarians, and it looked pretty cool. There's a lot going on. You're on a battlefield, and the game will be a launch exclusive, so that's another initiative, and it did actually look pretty cool. But I don't know how I felt about all the deaths being like 3-button QuickTime events, as you already have an attack button, and I find those kind of QuickTime events get pretty old and boring after the first like 10 times you do it. Like at first you're like, oh, that's cool, you slit the guy's throat or something like that, but after a while it kind of dies down. And I also noticed that you do a lot of commanding, which kind of takes, like, there's less gameplay of it, as you just command your army to like shoot the catapult or fire the arrows. It's really just kind of slasher game that we saw in the trailer. I don't know how it'll be, but it wasn't as, I don't know how to say it, but you weren't really playing as much as you thought. You were really just a commander, which kind of took you out of it a bit. And after that, they showed Killer Instinct, which is like this fighting kind of game. Another exclusive coming in 2013. They didn't say it was a launch title, but they did say coming in 2013, so you could assume it's going to be at least launch window. So it's just, there's been a lot more fighting games coming out lately, and it's just another one of those that's exclusive to the Xbox One. And then after that, Insomniac, the creators of games like Ratchet and Clank and Resistance that were a long time Sony exclusive, have now actually became an Xbox exclusive. And their new game was Sunset Overdrive, which was more of like a cartoony, different kind of art kind of game, but it was like an open world shooter that had zombies and stuff like that, and supposedly like developers would take feedback from the community and then make events accordingly to like add it as like a living world, which is what they really seem to be going. There was a lot of open world and like talking about the cloud and how that affects it, and how developers will take feedback and then add it into the game through the cloud, which is kind of cool. And then Forza 5, a game that we already knew about. Beautiful graphics, of course. Also an exclusive, obviously, and a launch. And the cool thing about this was the game keeps track of like your tendencies and how you do in races, and then it gives you tips like when to pass on the inside, if the car in front of you is like wide on the turn to cut inside, or advance pass like fake outside then cut inside. And the cool thing about that is that even when you're not playing, your driver, I forget what they call it, like driver profile or whatever, will keep on racing and kind of take on the traits that how you race, and that way your friends can still race basically against you effectively, even if you're not online, and it'll still earn you score and credits and stuff like that, which you can then spend on the cooler cars. So it's kind of cool how it's like your driver, you basically create a driver that drives just like you, and that hopefully the computer can simulate as if it was your driver, and that way your friends can always like drive against you, and then it's always earning you score and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool concept, and hopefully it's done right, which I assume it will be. And then after that, they showed Minecraft and how there's going to be like an Xbox One edition. I didn't get too many details about exactly how different it is, but and they didn't say outright it's exclusive. There's been some talks that maybe Minecraft might be coming over to PlayStation or something like that, but no confirmation on that. Just that there's going to be a new Xbox One edition that will be, I believe, different than the current Xbox 360 edition. And after that, we also saw Quantum Break, which we had already seen at the Reveal conference. Another exclusive that is paired with a TV show, and basically it's one of those kind of like thinker games, like where they showed in the trailer about like an explosion that was stopped and how the main character pulled out the doctor, and it seems like it's one of those like physicsy psychic kind of thing, and it looked okay from my perspective. You couldn't really tell exactly what the gameplay was going to be like or anything like that, so it's really hard to judge, but it's going to be interesting to see how it's paired with the TV show, like how Defiance was recently. I think it's kind of gimmicky, kind of like that. I'd rather just have an amazing game and not have to worry about the production values and money put into a TV show, but once again, it's one of those things we'll just have to wait and see. And then after that, they announced D4, which is another exclusive. They didn't really show too much about it. It was more like, I don't want to confuse this, but it was more of like a cartoony kind of thing, fighter. But it was just a quick little thing, like saying that it's coming out by the one Swedish developer. And then after that, there was this one, I'd assume untitled game called Project Spark, as you wouldn't have Project knowingly. Well, you wouldn't expect them to have Project as part of their title name. But of course, it's another exclusives, which I'll give Microsoft credit. They had a lot of solid exclusives that really surprised me, because I thought like they were gonna have like the Halos or maybe Gears of War, and then like mainly like indie kind of exclusives. But they actually came out with a good amount of AAA product exclusives. But anyway, getting back to Project Spark, it's also using the Kinect, so you can like talk to the Kinect, and then you basically like build a world. It's kind of Little Big Planet, open world-ish, as you like build a world and you can set like goblins and stuff like that, and then play in that world, which is kind of the premise of Little Big Planet. And you can like have other people play, open the worlds to other people. You can do the same kind of things where you can like make mini games like in Little Big Planet, like Angry Birds or Limbo or anything like that. And it also uses Smart Glass to be able to sculpt the world. I don't know how easy or fun that's gonna be. Like, I love playing Little Big Planet worlds, but I'm not much of a creator. But if you can get the creative people to make these amazing worlds, it looks really good, as it looks I loved Little Big Planet, and this is like Little Big Planet open world, which is pretty cool. And then after that, they took a bit of break from the games, and then they talked a bit more about Xbox Live and how you can look for multiplayer games while you're playing a single player game. Which, you know, unless you're in a game that like takes forever to find a multiplayer match, I don't really see the appeal. If I'm playing a single player game, I don't want to be constantly like playing that as my in between or anything like that. Like maybe if you're watching TV, it can be a quick snap back and forth, but I don't want to like play a multiplayer game, play my single player game for like a minute, and then go back to my multiplayer game, because that's how long the lobby time should be. So I really don't see being that big of an advantage if you're playing in a game that has like a good amount of people to actually matchmake. As if you go to like Call of Duty, as long as like your matchmaking options are right, which they should be, which they brag about here, then you shouldn't have to worry about like having to go in a single player game and like play for 10 minutes while they wait for you to find a match. So it's cool, but I don't know if it's really that big of an advantage for them. And just another little tidbit, they announced the fight stick will come out once Killer Instinct releases, which it's just like a nice little thing if you're into fighting games. Then they showed just the upload studio where you can edit upload, similar to exactly what Sony's doing. It was apparent that they were both going to do something like this, so it seems like they'll be similar in that you don't really have to worry about like adapting to one or the other and like having to switch back and forth. And then Sony had announced that they partnered with Ustream for their to broadcast for their live streams, and then Microsoft was able to get an even bigger company than that with Twitch for their live streams. So, and the interface looked exactly the same as Sony's. They had like the gameplay on the left, webcam if you want off the Kinect, couple of options, and then like comments on the side, which is exactly what Sony looked like. So that's to be expected there. One of them is not going to choose to not do it, as then that would give the other a big advantage. So you can't really say one's taken from the other. And then they announced that they're going to remove the 100 friend limit and say that you'll be able to be friends with all of your friends that you play with often. So I don't know, they didn't really explain how that works. They just kind of showed how you'll be able to be friends with whoever you want to be friends with. And of course, they're finally going to be taking rid of Microsoft points, which never made sense in the first place. And they're going to finally go to real money in the fall. And I believe that goes across even to Xbox 360 as well. And then they went back to the games, and they showed this game called Crimson Dragon, which was another exclusive, but it looked kind of cool. You're riding on dragons, and that's always cool. But there was no audio for it, so it seemed kind of weird. So most of these games, you can't really judge too much, because some of them were just like tiny snip to show that they're in development and they're coming out. You gotta really wait for like the hands-on demos that if you went to E3 you'd be able to see, or for like the more longer trailers that actually show gameplay and not just CGI footage. And after that was like a big shock to me. They showed Dead Rising 3, which I was really surprised to see, and that's also an exclusive. It looks like a zombie MMO. There's lots of zombies. Once again, it's open world, and there's a lot of zombies in there. Like if you watch the reveal, holy shit. And being open world, of course, there's gonna be lots of vehicles. They showed like a chainsaw with sledgehammer, which is pretty cool. Kind of gimmicky, but it was cool to like see him throw it and like split a zombie straight in half. And so I can see that being one of the games that can actually push the people over as being an exclusive, which I'm probably going to get an Xbox One eventually. It's just a matter of time. I do plan on getting the PS4 at launch, and then I'll probably wait until the Xbox One has a price drop, which I'll get to eventually. Then after that, they announced another open world game called Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which this one isn't an exclusive. It'll also be on PS4, but it looks like a game that will kind of rival like the Elder Scrolls series, as it's like that big open world 100-hour plus back in like medieval kind of thing, and that's RPG due to be released in 2014. And then they showed Battlefield 4. That's running now in 60 frames per second. Except they didn't show it right away due to tech errors, which was kind of awkward and stuff like that because it was a live demo for once. And the gameplay itself, I think they were just trying to show like the power of the engine, but with that kind of thing, you don't really get into it. You're kind of just bored for the most part, and it didn't really do that much. I much prefer the like 17-minute trailer bit of gameplay before. But the big news of this one was how Battlefield, don't know if they said for all DLC, but they said for their first DLC called Second Assault, it'll be first on Xbox One, which from before Battlefield 3 was actually DLC was released first on PS3 over Xbox One. Now it seems like Microsoft has paid DICE enough money to convince them, along with Call of Duty, to release DLC first on Xbox One, which once again takes the casual gamer that it's just like, why wait? Whatever, they didn't really say how long the exclusivity is, but why wait 2 weeks on PS4 when I can just play it first on my Xbox One? And it kind of takes those first-person shooter casual gamers gravitating more towards the Xbox One. And then they showed another exclusive called Below, which you didn't really see too much of it, so I'm not really gonna say too much about it. It seemed like a top-down kind of platforming, like action kind of game, so just gonna have to wait and see more about that. And then they talked about Black Tusk, the one studio in Vancouver. They didn't really show or announce what they were doing. They were just trying to basically brag about them and say that this is what they're working on, and it was kind of like the stealth weird gameplay, but we don't really know exactly what gameplay's like, what it's even called, so that's one you're gonna have to wait on. Which basically, if they don't have like a title or any gameplay or anything like that, it's gonna probably be like late 2014, maybe even 2015 if there's any delays or something like that. Which is basically what you can take from any of the conferences today. If there's not a lot of gameplay or in-game footage, or like don't even have like a title, those are obviously gonna be like 2014 games. But if like if you look at like the polished like Metal Gear games, or like obviously if you're looking at like the Forza game, you can tell those games are really well done, and they're getting closer to release, obviously, as it's only a couple more months away, 5 months away, until the release of the next-gen consoles. And then I didn't think there was going to be any Halo at the press conference. I wasn't sure, but then at first it looked like it was like this weird like Xbox Journey game, as you just see someone in a cloak going through a desert. But then as a big like reveal kind of thing, there's this huge like megaton thing coming out of the ground, and then Master Chief takes off the cloak, and then it's revealed to be the new Halo that will have dedicated servers and be in 60 frames per second as well, and that'll be coming to 2014, so that's going to be a year away. Yeah, I kind of half expected there to be a Halo, and I kind of half expected it to be just saying, yeah, there's a Halo game coming out, be excited about that, as they had just released Halo 4 not too long ago, so that's another thing to look forward to. And the last game that they showed was from the creators of Call of Duty 4, Respawn. It's a first-person shooter, mainly looking like a multiplayer game, if not like just multiplayer. It's called Titanfall. It's kind of what you would expect from a first-person shooter, with the twist being that you can call in like a Titan, that you can base what you'd expect, like a machine that can like shoot rockets, stuff like that. It looked pretty cool. It kind of just looked like another first-person shooter. It's not gonna be like a COD killer or anything like that. Um, I was actually really impressed by the games that they showed. They got rid of all the TV crap from the reveal. They took the blame for it, but I have to give them credit. They came out with a lot of good, big name exclusives like Forza 5, Rise, Son of Rome looked good. Quantum Break, if done right, can be good. Dead Rising 3, of course, for exclusives. Halo 4 looks good, and then Titanfall can be another system pusher as well. And then the big news to expect, they gave a release window even more narrow to be in November 2013, and that'll be $500. They didn't have multiple models like, or even like if you buy the whatever system for 200, then you have to buy live for 3 years or anything like that. They just said a flat out $500. So it doesn't seem like there's going to be a deluxe edition, or if they plan on releasing that news later, but it actually just seems like it's going to just be one single model of the console to be released in 2013 for $499. So I kind of just recapped everything that did. Like I said, I have to admit they actually had a pretty good conference. I'm actually fairly excited to see what they plan on doing going forward. The games look good, but I don't know if it's quite enough to push me over. Sony does need to have a really good conference to kind of strike back. As on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give Microsoft 8.5 to 9. It was a good to great conference. It wasn't like completely mind-blowing, as they didn't say like Halo 5's a release title. They didn't even announce anything about Gears of War, so that seems to be a ways down, as they just released Gears of War's Judgment. But there was no numbered Gears of War reveal there. But yeah, overall, I'd say Microsoft definitely redeemed themselves. They didn't really talk about any of the used games and stuff like that, but that information will probably be leaked as the week goes on. But if you have any questions, I'll answer them in the comments. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.